Hello, everyone. This is Gerald Celente. And of course, we're honored again today on this April 27th to have with us Judge Andrew Napolitano. And as I keep saying, nobody says what Judge Andrew Napolitano says with the authority and the judicial background in showing us what has happened to America, where it was, where it is, and where it's going regarding our constitutional rights that have been stolen from us, a thing called the Declaration of Independence, and they ripped up the Bill of Rights. And the judge just put out an article, will be out tomorrow, and it's about the problems with Disney and Florida. Thanks for being with us, Judge.
Well, it's a pleasure, Gerald. All my best to you, my friend.
You know, I'll never forget the first time I went to Disney World. You know, I was a kid. I grew up. I used to go to Palisades Amusement Park. Remember
Right.
that?
We did too. That was the place. If you lived in the New York City metropolitan area, North Jersey, Southern Connecticut, the Bronx, Manhattan, that's where the kids wanted to go. We all went there. They had
Right?
a saltwater pool. They had a
Yep.
pool filled with ocean water.
You know, my father may rest in peace. I remember, you know, my father's born in like 1909. And he used to go to Palisades Amusement Park, you know, when he was a young guy. And when the first time I went to Disney World after going to Palisades, I said, this place is terrible. It's nothing like Palisades, you know? Oh, it was great. And anyway, and then we have this Disney issue going on now in Florida. And the core problem with Disney in Florida is the American addiction to corporatism, you write. This is the use of government power for the benefit of the government patrons. Stated differently, it is a symbolic relationship between the government and a private business that gives government officials corporate largeness and the private business a near monopoly. It is capturing the power of the state to increase private wealth at the expense of others. You nailed it perfectly.
Thank you. One of the reasons you were so impressed as a kid with Disney is Disney didn't have to pay any taxes. Now, I'm not in favor of taxes. To me, taxation is theft. I think you agree. But for the government to take one competitor and relieve that competitor of the regulatory and tax burdens that it imposes on the other competitors is a violation of equal protection. So when Walt Disney found 25,000 acres of swampland outside of Orlando, Florida, he went to the state and said, "I'm going to turn this into a theme park. I'm going to improve this. I'm going to create thousands of jobs and bring in millions of tourists, but I don't want to pay your taxes and I don't want to deal with your local regulations." The state said, "Fine." That, of course, gave him a near monopoly. That is a violation of the laws of economics because it stifles competition. It's immoral because Disney bribed the politicians there to get it and put cash in their pockets, but he agreed to bow down to them in public and to help fund their campaigns. And it's unconstitutional because the 14th Amendment requires the states to treat all persons and all entities that are similarly situated in a similar way. This all comes to a head now because Ron DeSantis, the dictator of Florida, decided that because Disney officials criticized him, it happens to be in an area I agree with him on, but they criticized him publicly, he's going to take away their special privileges. They should never have had the special privileges in the first place, and the government can't punish people for exercising the freedom of speech. That's what this article is about. It's an interesting juxtaposition of constitutional violations. The state creating a favored status for one competitor, the state getting angry at that competitor and punishing it because its employees criticize the state.
And again, it's not only. I mean, it's everywhere. Anybody that's building something, they give them tax breaks. They're going to create jobs. They're getting tax breaks. And what are you talking about? As you wrote here, they're not getting tax breaks. The taxpayers have to pay for what they're not paying.
Correct. The tax burden is shifted to others. The state doesn't spend less money because it gave Disney or XYZ Corporation, whether it's Boeing or Raytheon at the federal level. The government doesn't spend less money. It just shifts the tax burden to other taxpayers. And that itself is a violation of equal protection because while Disney's paying fewer taxes, comparable entities, Busch Gardens, for example, which can't hold a candle to Disney but does compete with it, is paying more taxes. That's the violation. And all of this is done by politicians so that they can line government coffers and get government largesse and look like and boast to the people that we've created jobs. You know, in New Jersey, it's such a crazy place. It works the other way around. You want to build a house on a street in New Jersey, the local planning board will say, fine, repave the street for us. Repave the street. That's going to cost more money than the builder will receive from building the house. But that's the way it works here. You want the permit to build the house, repave the street. It's just reprehensible that government is out of control and mocks the Constitution it is sworn to uphold. Last week, the leader of the Republicans in the state Senate, I don't know the fellow and I have nothing against him personally, said, oh, by the way, we found a clause in the Florida Constitution that prohibits special privileges districts. You found a clause? They've had these special privileges for 60 years.
You know, but
We
again,
shouldn't
this
laugh
they
at
do,
it, but government is laughable. It's also
they,
dangerous.
but I
Dangerous.
said they do this everywhere.
Yes.
They're putting up. They want to build a hotel over here. Oh, they're going to give them tax breaks and grants because they're going to create jobs. You know, so the bigs get bigger. They don't give me a tax break for what I do.
Right.
And that's not, and again, you said this is against the Constitution, and nobody says that. And that's why I say that nobody says what you say with the authority and your judicial background. You know, there was a guy, his name was Mussolini, the merger of state and corporate powers,
Yes.
fascism.
Yes.
That's a quote.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what it's become. And
So
you say they give them campaign contributions. They're not campaign contributions. They're bribes and payoffs.
yes, it is a form of bribery. And the little Mussolini that is the chief executive officer of the Florida government, Ron DeSantis, got upset when his patron Disney dared to criticize him publicly. So he got legislation passed to rescind the special privileges district. They'll probably settle this in some way. Disney employs 80,000 people. And the law in Florida requires if you're going to rescind a deal like this, you need the majority approval of the people that live in the district. You know how many people live in this district? It's 25,000 acres, 50. Guess who they all work for? Disney. Good luck, Governor DeSantis, getting those 50 people to agree.
Yeah, and again, you know, you're talking about the whole. It's a much bigger issue because corporatism has taken over the country and the world.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know,
So last week, someone recorded statements made by the CEO of Raytheon. Now, Raytheon is the biggest producer of military hardware in the United States, and it has a corporatism relationship with the Pentagon. You buy our hardware. As soon as you retire, General, you come and work for us at 10 or 20 times what you were making in the military. That's the way it works, and that's the way it has worked since President Eisenhower, 2 days before he left office, warned us about the dangers of the military-industrial complex. Anyway, the CEO of Raytheon revealed this. The military hardware that the U.S. is giving to Ukraine is from surplus stockpiles, NATO and ours. It is not new. It's not the best. It's not being made and shipped over there. It's already over there. It's in stockpiles. And much of it, and at this point he laughs, much of it is destroyed by the Russians before the Americans can even physically put it into the hands of the Ukrainians.